What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for joining in for another fantastic video. We're going to be looking at Nikola, and then we're going to be looking at SHLL. So SHLL is coming into a merger this week as well, and it's definitely one that has been on the radar, and this kind of came up quite substantially a lot on our live stream we just did here on Sunday night, which we do every Sunday night. Would love to see everyone out there talk a lot of stocks and charts and have a lot of fun there. With this one, we had a large movement come in Thursday, basically from all the way from $45, crashed all the way down to around $33, bounced significantly hard off that 50-day SMA here, which is that red dotted teal line here, bounced hard, came back up. Overall, on the daily side, closed above the 21 EMA, which is a great significant sign. We're also seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages kind of consolidate here, trade sideways. So this is definitely one to watch out come into next week. And this is definitely one that was basically beaten down due to the overall, now I won't say wonderful news, the grateful lack of, like, which kind of everyone kind of basically knew about. The sense of Nikola Motors was just kind of falling somewhat. I want to say out of the sky, but it's definitely falling and just kind of potentially kind of going into no man's land. That being said, let me get some of these lines out of your way here to kind of better isolate these issues here. Definitely one that we have seen large run up, a lot of promises, a lot of things that weren't delivered, a lot of things kind of lied about, lack of better words, and being investigated now by some other, the federal, you have the United States basically kind of going and looking at digging into some of these allegations that the Hindenburg report kind of came through and other various sources really kind of leaked and talked about. With that movement here, potentially looking here at the stock, the 5 and 8 moving averages is still continuously pointing to the downside here. Potentially looking for continue to hold above $22.40. Again, for some strange reason, this stock was actually moving around when I thought it should have been going down. This stock does not have a brain. It literally just trades on hopes and dreams. I think a lot of people thought that when the Trevor Milton would leave, that things would get better. But I think even though with those allegations and all the other stuff coming through, it's just like, hey, what products do you really have that really just kind of cemented this and just put concrete shoes on, and now are just kind of sinking to the bottom of the ocean, aka potentially going to around that $14.81 level, which is a very key level here in the Fibonacci retracement. Not saying it's going to be hitting it tomorrow, but the overall trend as of right now is still continue going lower because you're seeing the one line that we look at the most is 21 EMA continue pointing to the downside here and aggressively looking for this just trading lower. But again, we could have a bounce. We could come up all the way up to $25 to $26, but we can fail here. We can come up all the way up to $30 again. But if we start breaking above $30, that trend could be somewhat stopping and the bleeding to the downside could stop. Looking here on the weekly side, kind of better cements the overall movement that we're seeing here. I know the stock hasn't been around very much, but again, the little bit that it has, with that huge run up here to around basically $94 and just continuously crashing down, had a little bit of a bounce and then came back down with a large crash. Thinking we could potentially get a bounce here again to around $30 and then have that finally lip lower here. Because there's a lot of open promises that they're talking about Nikola World and all the things that are going to be going on there. And a lot of people are just kind of waiting on how that plays out due to the fact of how many reservations do they really have, and just like the overall negative connotation with the overall stock is just not doing great. That being said, we also see that here with people betting on their own money. We're seeing a lot of options activity on the 21st of January 2020. We're seeing a large movement again here. This is a very, I wouldn't say aggressive bet, but a very somewhat of a YOLO-ish kind of bet. Around 1,500 contracts or volume was traded that day, of Friday of last week, of that $2.50 put here all the way out, which is 481 days away. What's the potential target for this? Yes, Could it happen? Sure, but we're talking about $2.50 and eh, almost 2 years, a little bit over a year and a half time frame. Yes, anything can happen, but that's definitely a very interesting play because again, if you go to any of those other options chains here, we're not seeing that enormous amount of volume in any of those things. We saw some here in April, but there wasn't a large open interest already there. So definitely one to look out for, especially is just this current January of 2021 with a lot of options around the 250 and the $10 range with a lot of open interest on this. Could they just be selling premium? I honestly think they're just selling premium at some of these levels here, but it's definitely something to kind of look out for to kind of see how it plays. Because again, even here on the call side, again, they could be selling premium because the IV on this stock is through the roof. Because again, we're talking the IV is up 200% on most of these months. Some months nearly up to 275. So a lot of the premium sellers, which is I'm one of them, would be getting into this. But again, I just can't touch Nikola with a 10-foot pole. So that being said, be very careful out there trading here. Some key takeaways again, we're looking for a potential recovery if it does want to recover to around $30. Near decided support around 22.48. Uh, then coming down to potentially the lower level around $14. The interesting point that we're looking here at, I don't know how you can't go negative, but that 78.6 percentile moves around $4. So that is definitely a very isolated key level that we could be looking at again down the road, but things really need to start falling off the old wagon wheel, as they say. That being said, if you haven't already, down in the description we have some two things. We have the Discord link, basically, which is something where we have folks join, look at, and we always have some good conversations here regarding anything about um, oops, wrong video. Looking here at basically moving some stocks, some new videos that are could be coming out. We talk a lot of trading stuff, news things, news articles, trading options, investing, some potential watch lists that people things. We look at memes, questions, all that kind of fun stuff. So definitely a lot of stuff going on there. And as well, if you're interested in joining the YouTube membership tab to help support the channel and get some cool perks on the live streams and of course some other resources from the charts that you see on my screen. And at the same time, the Patreon page kind of does the exact same thing, but some folks would rather prefer going through Patreon than YouTube membership tab there. Again, guys, thank you so very much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.